Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of Dialogue Horizon. In this episode, we will cover, in this short, actually in Ramadan, it's a short episode, 30 minutes, so we'll try to cover as much as we can the issue of the initiatives, the too many initiatives, and the demand of the Supreme Council, the military component, that people should come to a consensus before they can go to barracks. That's why I'm happy to host a politician, scholar, economist, Dr. Abdul Halim Taiman, assistant president National Party. So he's the best man to tell us about this thing. Dr. Halim, welcome in this important episode. Hope to give us, to enlighten the viewers of what's happening. Before I start, I just want to tell you that I read in the car, the sticker in the car, saying that if you are not confused, you are misinformed. So now people are confused because they are informed. Informed by what? Informed by the too many initiatives in the past few weeks. So it might come to more than 50 initiatives. So people now are confused about the initiatives. The last one was what is called, this is the consensus initiative. This will come to this, but before that, I want to ask you to comment on the insistence of the chairman of the Sovereign Council, General Burhan, and his deputy, General Hemeti. They insist on a consensus, on a dialogue between parties it's extremely difficult to have them together. Why are they insisting on this consensus which will never happen? Because two groups are at loggerheads. They cannot meet. So it could. Don't you think that could have been better that they should receive two blocks, accept a memorandum from this block, from the other block, and then they can decide. But as if they are asking for something which is impossible to happen. Just tell us about recently this Ramadan, in breakfast ceremonies, different ceremonies, the chairman of the Supreme Council, Dr. General Burhan, and General Hemeti, they all repeatedly insisting on having a consensus before going back to barracks. So as if by this demand they are not going to go back to barracks at all, because people can never come to a consensus. Just tell us about this, and then we'll talk about the recent initiative.
Thank you for having me, Ramadan Kareem, and greetings to dear viewers. First of all, we all know that we as Sudanese, we have went over difficult 30 years of dictatorship. During all these 3 years, the political parties and other institutions and organizations did not have the chance to exercise or get in any activities. And after this abrupt change of this dictatorship, it was expected, and this is something really very probable, that we will go over some difficulties, because we are in our early trainings of group work and all these things. Of course, they will produce some difficulties. Mm-hmm. But at last, we are able, through a coalition that composed of a wide spectrum of political parties and other institutions, the professionals, for example, and civil society institutions. All of them have formed the Freedom and Change Front. And we were also able to sign an agreement, and eventually also we succeeded to make a coalition or partnership with a military component. But after that, a lot of difficulties appeared, and it was quite clear that there are many issues that divided this components, and at last the 25th October coup complicated the political scene in an unprecedented way. But after the coup, there is a lot of deterioration that happened in the economic arena, in the political arena, and most of these difficulties are the impact or the results of the 25th October. But at last, we must talk about what divided us before 25th October and what is preventing or not helping us in order to also make some kind of new coalition or agreement. But consensus as meaning it is very difficult to reach a consensus, but we are talking about a reasonable consensus between the key players and those people who have succeeded to produce or make this revolution. And but efforts are going, and there are a lot of initiatives. The Ummah Party also presented to the political parties and other organizations its contribution, the roadmap, and it was clear, and it contains 13 items, and other groups also, the resistance committees also, they have initiative. Even the Revolutionary Front also recently, they have also presented their initiative. But the most important thing that there are a lot of similarities between these initiatives, so we don't need additional documents. What we need is a mechanism that will just coordinate between all these initiatives, and then we need to group the similarities that are there in these initiatives, and then we will form some kind of committees that will look in the differences in order to reach at least in to a document that contains all these initiatives in one document, and then this will be a precondition to form a government and to nominate a prime minister. But anything before this homework will result in an additional complication of the complicated political and economic situation.
Okay, okay, Dr. Haditi, and having said that, this the reaction that General Burhan and General Hamiti, they are both genuine in reaching an agreement between these conflicting groups, parties or organizations or associations. Definitely. Now we have two distinct blocks, very distinct blocks now. It's clear to everybody. But let us go back to, you said about the initiatives, and there are many initiatives. You don't want more initiatives. What we need is some kind of reconciliation between the initiatives until you come to which is okay. Let us go to the latest initiative of few days ago. People saw that this is the initiative which is doing exactly what you are saying, to have a minimum or reconciliation or coordination between the different initiatives. But and 79 signed on this agreement, and some people they thought that this might be the solution. But all of a sudden, the whole initiative failed completely by the rejection of important key parties. First of all, the Ummah Party. It's the Ummah Party, which is it's important, historic, big party. The people are confused about the president of the Ummah Party is signing, and the Secretary General is saying this is not the Ummah Party agreement, so they are against it. The other Ummah, Mubarak al-Fadil, also against it. The Popular Congress Party also against it. Definitely the other block of the associations of professionals and the FFC, Freedom Forces and Change. So the agreement Can you tell us about this agreement? Where did it originate, and who signed it, and who are they? These 79 representative to whom and to what? So can you tell us about Faris, about your party, Ummah Party? What is this initiative, the latest initiative?
The most important fact is that we must say that political parties and all the transitional partners now, they represent the public, the Sudanese people. And we are here to translate the goals of our people in their fight for freedom and peace and
Yes.
and a new change and democracy. So for example, before we go directly to the answer, we must say that the roadmap of Ummah Party, first of all, this map talked about a new formation of a transitional government. It's not the old fashion of this partnership, classical partnership, or the old partnership between the military and the civilians. What we need is a complete civilian-led government. And the military, they can form a Security and Defense Council, for example. But the government should be 100% civilian. And we talk also about a round table consultation between all political parties and other organizations, and which is supervised, not supervised, but there should be international and regional grantors for the outcomes of these discussions. And also we talked about at least some kind of consensus about a new, for example, incubator, so that all people will feel that they are part of the new government. But this new initiative that is signed in Bahri University, it contradicts with what is what is in the other initiatives. For example, first of all, they are talking about the military component to be supervising the transitional period, and this is not something that would be accepted. This is one. They are talking about a new constitution, and this basically they are meaning that they will open the way for all those people who have fallen with the old regime to come back and participate. And it is clear that this is kind of a tactic in order to reproduce the defunct government regime. And we are totally against any kind of these very limited, not intelligent tactics. What we need is that we must go direct to our difficult solutions. All parties must understand that this is a very critical time for our country, and we don't have time to lose in tactics. Our nation has clear demands. We need freedom, we need democracy, we need to build favorable conditions that people will enjoy human rights, and we will also make sure that we will form our legislative institution. And these issues, and it's not true that our society is divided between civilians and military. We are not divided on such a basis, and this is wrong, of course. But we are against those military who have dictatorship some goals, because some military they have a tendency toward dictatorship, and they want to through some methods they want to control this period, and then they will present themselves in the coming elections, and all these things are not accepted. I think what we need is that we fully respect the military because they are part of us. They are Sudanese. In each house there is a military member, and we are just against any military who have political ambitions. This is wrong. This is our basic issue. So the military component can play a vital role in this transitional period by taking care of forming or the one national unified national army, and then also the security arrangements between the different factions. We have a lot of guns, a lot of factions now. So this is the area where they can make good contribution for us. But the government should be civilian-led government.
Okay, Dr. Abdul Halim Teman. Now, I think that both Generals Burhan and Hamiti are genuine about handing over to civilian governance. They are fully aware, and it was even repeated not by both the two generals alone. Down the ladder of the army, people, they are convinced that the army role is not to be involved in politics, but this is something that are protecting the country until it passes this critical zone and this turbulence. Then they definitely will go back. So the final thing is the elections. And this has happened twice in two different cases, in after October 1964 and after April 1985, when both generals, Aboud and Suaradab, they just immediately after the elections, after the results of elections, they disappeared completely from the arena and they went back to their role as soldiers. So this will happen. But the conditions, I'm saying that the condition of a general, now it is very clear there are two blocks. And those who signed, and they are trying to sign initiatives, they should not forget that they are not the only players in the arena. There are sizable group of youth, very resilient, very strong, and they want, and they prove to be strong. They continue taking to the streets. These are the resistance committees. General Burhan and Hamiti, General Burhan especially, is always repeating that youth and the resistance committees, he's recognizing and he is fully aware of the influence of these committees on the streets. So is it possible now these resistance committees and other, let us say, leftist parties, they are adamant against any initiatives which might bring back the relics of the old regime, some of them, or bring them in a new look. This is categorically objected, and they refuse it. In this condition, Dr. Hari, what will be the solution? Now these people, they will not accept. This is a different block. The other are, so how to go about it? Really, it is very difficult to envisage what will happen.
First of all, it's not accepted, of course, in order to exclude those people who have worked all these years and have confronted the dictatorship, and they have led this revolution, and they brought this revolution, and then you exclude them, and then you bring some affiliates of the old regime and try to make an incubator of these people. This will bring us again to the vicious circle, and this will not be accepted. But what is needed is that, of course, I agree with you, we need to include all those who have participated in a way or another in resisting the old dictatorship during all these years. All these people, we need their efforts. And of course, we must go to elections. No matter, no matter the time is to.
Ultimately, you should go to elections.
Yeah, and we in Ummah Party, we are not talking about extension of the transition.
Are you ready after 1 year?
We are ready at any time, but it is as it was specified by the Constitution. Now we are ready, and this is something that I think is the best, because I understand the fear of some political parties and groups that any rush or early elections will bring this the defunct regime of the supporters, or maybe the military also may take the chance and get in elections and win them. But normally, when you delay elections, the chance to bring the chance for a new dictatorship in this case will be higher.
It grows.
Yes, because if you delay elections, so you are just facilitating the chance for a new dictatorship. So we understand that our elections will be very difficult, but we must prepare ourselves. First, we must try to set good rules, and we must also we must form the electoral committee, and then the rules and all things that will facilitate the parties training, group works, all these things must be done, and also we must talk about the budgets for these parties, and we will just we must prepare ourselves in order to prepare the favorable conditions for fair and free elections.
Okay, Dr. Halim, because we always we have very short time. This episode is very short. Yeah. Let us go. If we go back to election before, Ummah Party and DUP, the Democratic Unionist Party, they used to be like in football, like Hilal Marriah. They get the lion's share in the election seats. Ummah and the DUP, the Democratic Unionist Party. Do you think that if you go for election, the same thing will happen, or some new players will come up? Because people are forgetting that the demographic political change of the youth, or the involvement of the youth, it will be a strong player. It's not a joke. I'm sure it will be a player. Are you aware this is Ummah Party, the historic parties I'm talking about it? Are you paying attention to this change? Not in Khartoum only, even in Darfur, in Kordofan, the youth now they have something. This is, they call it the populist. It's a movement in the globe. So this could make a surprise.
Of course, history cannot repeat itself typically, because in that case there will be no development. Of course, there is a change that happened, but parties must work hard in order to reintroduce themselves to the public, and also the issues, the new generation also have different objectives. They are of different composition, and all these things are very clear. And because when a country goes through 30 years of dictatorship, this is something that will make every party be very cautious about the results, because we are talking about new society, divided society, where there are a lot of wars that took place in the country, and tribe tensions, and a lot of destruction has happened during these years. So it is not a smooth way for the old parties or new parties in order to win elections. It's not that easy. But we in Ummah Party, we are in a good position, because we have our offices are full in all states. We have very diversified membership in all of Sudan, and Also, during all these years, we have been.
Do you have use?
Yes, also use, of course. We have offices in all
Parts of this country.
parties, and even internationally. You have tens of offices around the globe, and we are, in terms of institutions, we are ready. In terms of also of leadership, we are ready. But at last, we also must work, and we are ready because we are developing our strategy in order to present it for the new generation, for the public, and we are ready, and we are
You are ready anyhow.
we
anyhow,
are ready for
as I
elections,
said,
and we are ready to present ourselves for the
Okay.
new Sudan.
Okay, let us go to a very important issue because now I think we are short of time, we're almost finished. But we want to ask you about, if you go back to history, the era of Aboud and the era of the most of the international assistance, especially for America, it came at the time where there was a military rule, most of it. Like, for example, during Aboud, many of the American aid, the US aid, and most of the aid. Now, under the conditions of this very fragile and very fluid arena, in the political arena of Sudan. So if this continues, this will definitely have an effect on the international assistance. International assistance will not come to a weak governance. So are you also aware of this fact that they should come to a conclusion? Because now the economy is deteriorating. International assistance is linked to good and strong governance. What is your comment on this, the international involvement or assistance, not involvement?
Already in Sudan, after in these few in the last 2 years, we have made a lot of efforts, and until we participated in Paris conference, where the France government promised to give Sudan $1.5 billion. The World Bank promised to give Sudan $2 billion. The African Development Bank in Paris conference also declared that its assistance to Sudan with $700 million. And there are a lot of pledges to help Sudan, and all investors, they were ready. And the government also went along many, reforms, and the conditions are very favorable for support to come. But this coup has cut the way for all these favorable news. And now we are back to the old era and black days. But what we need now is to restore the transitional path, and also to benefit from the willingness of the regional and international community to help Sudan. Once we reverse this situation, I'm sure we will get back again to our normal path, and we will also be ready, and we will receive all this help. But there is one important thing, is that the UN mission to Sudan also can play a role in this case, because they can also help in convincing the international community in order to help Sudan. But all this is connected to the current crisis that we are living. Unless we reverse this situation and return to the democratic path, nobody will help us. And this is a clear message that our military component must understand, and they don't need to complicate the issues further, because Sudan is now in a very critical situation.
Very critical. But also I want to add you before you forget about the agreement, Juba agreement. Some implementation of Juba agreement, especially the security arrangement, did not go one step further. This is also another issue. Can you just in 1 minute tell us your comment on this?
Yeah, in the mandate of this envoy, the Volker Perez, also in their mandate, they will help, in implementing the peace. But implementation of peace and the security arrangement, all these things, they need budgets. These budgets also, unfortunately, the coup also cut the way for these budgets that are expected by this time, that they can probably, if the coup did not happen, we are sure that the budgets for also these security arrangements would have been received by Sudan this time. And unfortunately, the coup has stopped many things. But still, we think that peace agreement is also facing a lot of challenges, because without security arrangements, and imagine that these people have tens of thousands of soldiers. So from where do they have budgets in order to give them salary? And so a lot of things are expected, even internal these soldiers and factions. So all these things, they need political stability, they need restoring of the constitutional order, and they need also to nominate a civilian-led government, because we are now, the country is going without executive government. And
for 6 months.
For more than 6 months, and this is a huge challenge and risk, a big risk also. So we are calling for ending all these things and for giving the way to form a civilian-led government in order to restore the transitional path and the legislative order.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abd Halim Teman. Very interesting talk, but very short, unfortunately, but we could continue in other new episodes. Thank you, dear viewers, for being with us in the last 30 minutes. Hope to see you next week, either in the continuation on this issue of the initiatives or another issue. Hope to see you well next week. Bye.